Are you addicted to being perfect? That's a tough question to swallow sometimes. I know that there are going to be people here today who feel that way, who feel like, oh, I'm a perfectionist, but realize, ooh, I might actually be addicted to trying to be perfect. We're going to talk about perfection today, the pursuit of perfection. And I've got an author here of the book Perfection Paradox, The Perfection Paradox. Accept your addiction, overcome your obsession, and escape to excellence. We've got author Jeff Kramer here joining me in just a few moments. But first, I'd like to introduce him. I'd like to introduce this concept. It's a valuable one. I know we have got people here who are going to be tuning in from around the world, around the country. So if you are here and tuning into this broadcast or even catching this on your own time a little bit later, that's fine. I'd love to hear where you're from. And if you are a perfectionist, let us know if this resonates with you. The topic of the perfection paradox is already ringing in your ears. Let us know. So I'm a perfectionist. We've got Jeff here who's going to help us work through the perfection paradox. But first, a little bit about Jeff. So after 35 years in the public works industry as an award-winning engineer and program manager, Jeff Kramer left it all behind to follow his passion as an author, a coach, and a speaker. And so now Jeff focuses on building people by helping them clarify their calling and overcome their obstacles and define their direction. So they're encouraged, equipped, and empowered to reach new heights of success. What a mission statement that is. Isn't that awesome? He became a certified leadership development and personal growth coach and speaker with the John Maxwell and Igniting Souls teams. And he's a licensed empowerment mentoring facilitator and a human behavior consultant, certified to administer and debrief both the DISC, if you've taken that personality test, the DISC personality test, and the Maxwell leadership assessments. He released his first book, Perfection Paradox. We're here to celebrate that today. And he has a goal of helping others to overcome perfectionism and become perfectly unhackable in work and life. Jeff is a native Arizonan. Anyone from Arizona, let us know. Give us a whoop whoop and let Jeff know you're here. He's living in Arizona with his wife, Sharon, and they have 4 amazing daughters, a granddaughter, and a love of the Southwest. What a fantastically diverse and well-rounded individual we have here. A lot to talk about. We don't need to see my face anymore. Let me bring in a good friend, Jeff Kramer. Jeff, I'm so glad that you're here today. And so excited to have this conversation about perfection. What a topic, man.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Yeah, it's quite the overwhelming topic. I like to tell people, hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm a perfectionist.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful personality trait, and I actually referred to it more as an addiction than a personality trait, and can be very debilitating. So hopefully the message in the perfection paradox will help some folks with that.
I'm excited to talk about this and get into this more. Jeff does have some giveaways today, so make sure that you stick with our live stream today celebrating the launch of Perfection Paradox. Jeff has some giveaways that we'll explain a little bit more about a little bit later about how to win some amazing resources for you in your pursuit of overcoming your perfection addiction. Jeff, excited to talk about this. So can I start by asking you how you got started wanting to write about this topic? I would assume, if I may assume, that you struggled with this yourself and have found a way out. But could you clarify how did you embark on this journey?
Yeah, Mike, it was really not originally this topic.
Oh, really?
And I actually, a number of years ago, discussed my desire to write a book, and it was going to be this, self-help, keys to being successful, all that sort of stuff. And of course, I never got anywhere with it. And then I was going to do a leadership book, which I never got anywhere with. And then there were more and more and more things that were going to happen that never happened. And I recognized that it was this addiction to perfection that was preventing all these things from happening. So really the genesis for writing this book was kind of this personal cathartic thing, right? I needed to really understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, and how I could quit doing it so that I could move on and do all these other things that I wanted to do and wanted to accomplish. So, and if you can imagine a perfectionist writing a book about perfectionism, it
I
took a
was going to
while.
ask about that.
It was definitely a challenge. I kind of jokingly told my editor that this is my first draft, but I've self-edited 33 times. Have at it.
Oh man.
Uh, but yeah, it was really about initially helping myself to be free of that addiction that was holding me back and preventing me from doing all the things I wanted to
Hmm.
do.
The Brian here, he's with you, man. He says the need to be perfect gets us stuck.
Amen,
Um,
Brian.
how long did it take you to write this book?
Well, back in the days when I was a perfectionist, I would say I'm embarrassed to say, but actually, I'm really thrilled to say it took me 28 months. 28 months from the
Wow.
time I started until the time it was released. Um, and there were a lot of pauses in there.
Sure.
You know, for anybody who wants to write a book, don't think that every book takes 28 months. I know people who've gone much quicker. um, but that was my process, and it worked for me, and I'll take it.
I love it. Well, that's so good. I think you're already touching on and encouraging people just by the story, your example here, that it's not a race, right? It's your process, and you fight your battles, and you find the success that you need. And it's not about comparing yourself to other people who have written books faster or accomplished their goals faster.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are big support of you, Jeff, and big supporters of this book, and excited to talk more about it. So we're talking about the perfection paradox here with author Jeff Kramer. So Jeff, what do you want your readers to understand here through the message of this book? Um, what do you want them to get from this?
I think the main thing to understand, perfectionism in and of itself isn't bad, right?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Striving to do something perfectly, that's not a bad thing. When it becomes bad is when we become addicted to it, when we obsess about perfection, and we get to that point where we can't ever be done. We can't put anything out there. We can't complete projects. We become overly demanding, right? I had an administrative assistant once who told me she was going to quit ordering red pens because I went through them too quickly.
Oh yeah.
Um, the problem with perfectionism is when it makes it so that you can never be satisfied with anything.
Hmm.
That's when it becomes bad. And so, really, the goal is more excellence than perfection, right? You want
Excellence over
to
perfection. That's good.
exactly. You want to do the best that you can do. You want to perform the best you can perform. You want to have the best relationships you can have, whether those are personal, professional, whatever they may be. They don't need to be perfect. They just need to be good or great or excellent, whatever the word is that you want to define it by. It's okay if there are flaws. The flaws are freeing.
Hmm.
So that's really the key that I want to share is don't, I lost a lot of life. I damaged relationships with my kids and with coworkers and employees, and it took me 40 plus years to recognize what I was doing and go about correcting it. So I just hope
Hmm.
that people who read this book realize they don't need to lose those same 40 plus years that I lost.
Man, that's so good and so generous, really, of you to be able to share your experience, share your wisdom, share your insights, and just support, so that people don't have to walk the same path you did. And that's the joy of the author, right? Of
Right.
being able to help share your journey to maybe help others avoid some of the pitfalls, avoid some of the dead ends that you experienced. And that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Hey, if you're watching this and you know someone who struggles with having to be perfect, like Jeff mentioned, those warning signs of never never allowing something to feel done. Maybe your red pens are out of ink, and just very critical of yourself and your work. If you know someone like that, go ahead and tag them. It's a what a loving gesture that'd be like. Hey man, I have a solution for you. You know, I have help that that can add value to your life in the form of this book, The Perfection Paradox by Jeff Kramer. And so yeah, tag someone here in the chat. We'd love to let them know they still got time to join in and catch some of the value that Jeff's dropping here. And we've got, like I mentioned, some giveaways that we'll explain toward the end as well. So we're having a great time celebrating the launch of this book. Jeff, how will people find help in this book? Like, kind of like, what sort can they expect? Any tips, any processes or structures in this book that will help them?
Yeah, really, when I was laying the book out, it kind of evolved into a really natural flow. I use a lot of stories from my life, and trust me, if you're out there watching this, there are a lot, a lot of stories from my life about perfectionism, screwing things up. Um, but I take you through a process of understanding initially kind of. What is perfectionism? What are the types of perfectionism? And then I go through this 3-step process of how do we become perfectionists? What causes it or
Hmm.
contributes to it? And then examples of what I call living inside the paradox. When you're a perfectionist, what's that like? What does it do to you? What does it do to the people around you? How does it manifest itself in work and life? And then I go into kind of that last piece, which is how do you get out of the paradox, right? How do you come up with methodologies to avoid perfectionism? And I go into some things that work for me. And here's the thing, there's something that works for everybody. You just have to find what works for you,
Hmm.
right? What worked for me may not work for everybody, but if it puts someone on a path of discovery where they find the one that does work for them, then that did its job, right? But I give the examples of those things that worked for me, things like analyzing cause and effect, right? What did you do? What caused it? What was the result? Was that really the result that served you well? I go into habit breaking and forming and the tools that helped me with that. I go into bite-sizing tasks in order to avoid procrastination, right? One
Hmm.
of the things that perfectionists are great at is putting things off because we're afraid it won't be good enough. Nobody
Oh,
will
sure.
like it. I'll be a failure, or I'll be a success and then I'll have to live up to it, right? Perfectionists are afraid of both. We're afraid of failing and we're afraid of succeeding.
That's good.
So I go through how you can kind of chunk down tasks to make them more manageable so that overwhelm kind of goes away.
That's so good. We've got people appreciating your transparency here, and I mentioned, or I noticed the humility that you have going about this when you mention, like, look, you may not have the answers for everyone because it's going to be a different process for people, and you're sharing what worked for you to break your addiction to perfection. And that
Yeah.
will work for many people, but maybe for others, it's, well, maybe not those exact steps, but just the realization, like, okay, it's the goal is not perfection, the goal is excellence. All right, what does that look like in my life? Maybe not each of these principles step by step, but now I'm inspired to be able to find my own path through this, and you count that a win in and of itself. That's fantastic. We've got some friends of yours who have seen you not only just preach this, but also live it out and experience the change in your own life. So that's always So good to see. And we're talking about the perfection paradox with Jeff Kramer. If you're just joining us, a really much needed talk about perfection. And I like what you just said about perfection can lead to procrastination, right? I know I'm guilty of that. And I hadn't really considered before that it is a symptom of perfectionism, because you just put things off if they can't be perfect, right? And the
Yeah.
fear of failure, the fear of success, are equal fears in the life of the perfectionist. And man, we got a lot of people in support of you and your book and the messages here. Jeff, what would you like people to do? All right, so we've got people. Some I've already actually mentioned they've already ordered the book, right? It's on the way. And so what do you want people to do after this? What's the next step? So if I've read the book and be like, all right, I'm addicted to perfectionism, to being perfect, and so then what would you want me to do after reading this book? What path can I take after this?
Well, really, there are a couple things. The first one is just apply the message to your own life and let it help you overcome whatever element of perfectionism is you're dealing with, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's you, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your child, understand the message that I'm trying to share in the book and apply it to your own life so that you can be freed, right? So that you can live a little bit more peacefully, a little bit more freely from the constraints of perfectionism. Um, if if people do want to dive deeper into the topic, obviously I'd love for people to reach out. We're going to be putting together the audio book right now.
Oh, great.
We're going to follow that up with some training with an online course. So we're going to provide some opportunities for a little bit deeper dive into the topic. So I'd love anyone who's interested or is dealing with perfectionism, if I can help in any way, to reach out. But really, the biggest thing for me, and I've for years have told people this, even before I realized that I was kind of hindering myself along the way. But really, if just one person is helped, then it was all worthwhile. That's good. That's good enough for me, right?
Love it.
Um,
Hmm.
and so I'd just love to hear from people if anyone is touched by the book, if they gain some value from the book, let me know, just so that I can celebrate their win for them, and that would be great.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, we have people who already have the book. Tanisha says she has it. Renee says she has the book. If you have this book and read it, or if you're going to read it and you have been touched by this book and you've received any value at all, go ahead and reach out to Jeff. Jeff, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, there's a couple of ways. One is they can go to the book site, perfectionparadoxbook.com, and they can reach out to me through the connection form there. And the other way they can do it is through the jeffreyakramer.com website. And you'll love this, Mike. So even just a few years ago, that site would not be live yet because it's not done. There
Oh,
are there are content coming soon elements to it. There are pieces that are partially built but not fully built. I never in a million years would have published and gone live with a website that was not complete.
I do love this. This is
That
so good.
website is not complete, but I'm okay with it because what's up there is pretty good, and that works for me. So yeah, I'd love for anybody to reach out to me through either of those channels and make a connection and visit from there. Yeah.
Awesome.
would be great.
perfectionparadoxbook.com. You can learn more about the book there. You can go to jeffreyakramer.com and go reach out to him through his perfectly imperfect website. It's incomplete, and he's okay with that. What a
That's
great
right.
testament to the work in Jeff's life, and I'll tell you what, man, that scares me. It scares me to do something like that. So this is good. I'm already like, oh man, I got it. All right, what can I let go? What can I let go? What imperfect action can I take? And you are a living testament of that. Uh, Carrie, your coach is here and celebrating the successes in your life and for the people that you've helped. So
So,
good.
so Mike, I got to tell you, since we mentioned Carrie, um, and I love Carrie, I owe that man so much. And really, this happened. It was the date is just forever in mind. September 23rd, 2014. I was in a group coaching call with Carrie, and I've seen. I mean, at least I know Tanisha's on. I saw her name pop up in the comments. She was
Yeah,
on
she
that
said
call
you were
with
in a
me.
mastermind together for a while. That was great.
We were, and we were in a group coaching program with Carrie, and I was on the call, and he started pressing me a little bit on some of my beliefs, and this all came out that night, September 23rd, 2014. It just revealed itself to me. I call it my perfection revelation date
Hmm.
because Carrie helped me to expose this addiction that night. And it's actually in the book. It's one of the appendices in the book, a
Oh, great.
transcript of that call. And and I just want to publicly thank Carrie and there are a couple other people who were on that call who appear during my segment, either by name or vocally, who have all graciously given their permission. The audiobook, instead of reading the transcript, it will be the actual live coaching call, the recording of that call from September
Awesome.
23rd, 2014, in place of the transcript in that appendix in the audiobook. And it's just life changing.
What a great feature that is of the audiobook to be able to share the actual audio transcript of the original moment happening as if it was in real time on the audiobook
Yeah.
instead of just the manuscript, the transcript in the book itself. To be able to
Yeah.
have that actual coaching moment represented in the audiobook is so cool. Daphne has goosebumps thinking about that. She loves it. And so if you have the book, The Perfection Paradox, then we recommend the audiobook to hear the words from Jeff, to hear the coaching call itself of Jeff's. I love what you said. What you call it, the
Perfection revelation day.
perfection revelation moment. I love it. I think a lot of people are going to have their own perfection revelation moment, maybe even today, through this book. Jeff, you have several generous offers here in terms of a giveaway. I mentioned at the beginning that people who'd stick around here have a chance to participate in this giveaway. And so I want to share a little bit about what people can expect and how they can be involved. So, and feel free to chime in to explain any more as I go through this and share what
Sure.
people can expect here. But first, we've got a Perfection Paradox pack, which is an autographed hardcover copy of the book with a branded bookmark and a fridge magnet. Man, what a great reminder. Now, there's a lot of things that I think, okay, a fridge magnet, that's nice. That's just merch though. But what a important concept and an important message to have, boom, right there on your fridge, seen daily, to keep reminding, it's okay to not be perfect, strive for excellence instead. All these messages that's a great place to put that. So Jeff's offering a Perfection Paradox pack. Jeff also is going to be giving away, again, I'll give details in just a moment, a Perfectly Unhackable pack, an autographed hardcover copy of the book with the bookmark, with the magnet, plus a copy of Unhackable, which is by Carrie Oberbrunner. But you are a certified coach.
That is
Is
correct. Yeah.
an Unhackable certified coach, which of course is right on brand with the Perfection Paradox. And how often do people get hacked by trying to be perfect, right?
Huge hack. Huge hack.
Man, and Jeff here has some resources to help people get unhacked from the addiction of perfection. So good. What a great combining of your messages. We've also have an imperfection habit creation pack, creating habits. So there's the copy of the book, a bookmark, a magnet, and a thinker's notebook, and an EVO planner. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So those are a couple of the tools and resources that I used that worked for me when it came to creating habits that were helping me to be less perfectionistic, right? So, Thinker's Notebook, what I love about it's just a simple notebook for you, whether you journal in it, sketch in it, whatever it is, comes with an app. But the beauty of it for me, being a perfectionist and being an engineer in the construction world for so many years, I'm able to record things and organize them within the app. I'm able to geotag. So if I see a quote, if I see an image that I like, I can snap it, I can store it, I can geotag it, I can access it from anywhere I want. So it's kind of an Evernote type of thing, only it makes more sense to me the way that it works, right?
Oh,
Uh,
fantastic.
the Evo planner is a planner. There's a million planners out there, right? Michael Hyatt's got one, Brendan Burchard's got one, Dean Graziosi's got one, right? The Evo planner, what I love about it is there are 4 different formats of this planner, and you take their free assessment. It's called the brain type assessment, very similar to DISC. Kind of gauges how you think, and then it recommends which format of the planner you should use. And so I used to use the Franklin planner, and I was very inconsistent about it. And using the Evo planner really is helpful for me because there's a section for gratitude journaling. There's a section for what am I going to do to cause myself to have work-life balance today. There's a section for what's my most important goal for the day. Then there's kind of the to-do list, right? But you can prioritize and time block your to-dos. And then at the end of the day, you rate yourself. What did I meet my goals in these areas? You scan it with their app, and then it keeps a running average of how you're doing on your wellness, on your gratitude, on your accomplishing your most important tasks, on meeting your work-life balance goals, right? So you can see how you're doing visually in the app. And I've just found it to be really helpful for me to kind of blend the journaling, the gratitude journaling, the task mastering in a way that works for my brain.
Wow, that sounds like a fantastic resource for people who struggle with perfection and struggle to get organized and stay on track like that. What a fantastic opportunity. That's the Imperfection Habit Creation Pack. And then we have a grand prize available, which contains all of those. The Perfection Paradox Pack, the Perfectly Unhackable Pack, the Imperfection Habit Creation Pack, plus if I understand correctly, free enrollment in the Escape to Excellence course when that becomes available, right? And a complimentary 1-hour coaching session with the man himself, Jeff Kramer. A fantastic opportunity. As we have explored here in the past half hour, Jeff is a wealth of resources, encouragement, insights, and guidance for you along your path to recovery from perfection. And so if you would like to be entered in this giveaway to receive any one of these prizes, do this. Purchase copies of the book through perfectionparadox.com, and all purchases before August 21st are eligible. Just send a copy of your receipt to support@jeffreyAkramer.com. Support@jeffreyAkramer.com. Send your receipt there. I do want to clarify, Jeff, do the copies of the book have to be purchased through your website, perfectionparadoxbook.com, or can they be purchased elsewhere to be eligible?
They can be purchased anywhere.
Okay, great.
There are links on that site to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Books A Million. It makes it easy
Awesome.
to choose whichever one you want to go to, but anyone can go anywhere they buy their books.
Fantastic. So anywhere that you buy your books, go ahead and purchase a copy of The Perfection Paradox. Tanisha even has been dropping links to purchase the book straight from this chat, so you don't have to look very far. Go to website and then just send a copy of your receipt to Jeff at support@jeffreyakramer.com, and you'll be entered to win this giveaway, and he'll reach out to you with the winners of that. That's exciting. I look forward to the life change that comes from this, Jeff. Yeah. And we have to wrap up our time. Unfortunately, we went so quick, and there's so much value, so much hope that you offer people here. And hate to cut it short, but we do wish you the best in your pursuit of excellence. And I know that you have already been experiencing that and sharing that with so many others as well.
Thank you, Mike. It's been great to spend some time with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for joining me here today. Everyone, this has been the global launch of Jeff Kramer's book, The Perfection Paradox: Accept Your Addiction, Overcome Your Obsession, and Escape to Excellence. I hope that you see escape to excellence even starting today. If you want more help and guidance along your journey, Jeff is your man. Be sure to reach out to him. And if you're catching this live, thank you so much for joining us. If you're catching this later on, I'm so glad that you've taken some time to explore this topic together. Thanks so much. Jeff, appreciate you, man. And we'll catch you next time.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.